Early on in my awakening journey, I used to have this strong desire to meet my tribe, my people. And I felt as though if I could just meet the right people, then I could turn into the person I was supposed to be. Almost as though I couldn't transform until I found those people. Not fully. And although I do believe that it is important to find your alignment and who you vibe with, and to practice discernment, particularly if you're still on the shadow work journey, I believe that it's actually incumbent upon us to transform first so we can then attract the right people. And to be a turtle poking its head out and retreating back to the shell, to the known, to the patterns, to the life that once was, and saying, I'm going to come out when I see the right people, is kind of ludicrous if you think about it. Because let's say you pop out and you go after those people, but you're still the same old person. How are you going to attract them? How are you going to let them feel that resonance? Now, I don't want to oversimplify this because there is something about resonance. The people carry an energy signature. You can even see it in photos. And you can feel the essence of that person and where they're at. And no matter how they're dressed or what they look like, you can actually see if they're very vibrant and radiant, or if they're actually struggling with something. If they have shadow behind their eyes, if their eyes are dead. And as a result, you can get a reading. And so I don't want to say that you have to be completely in a new set of clothes and new behaviors, because it's not always about that. And even if you are a turtle and you have the right energy, frequency, and the resonance, then it's hard to hide when you're around people that know what they're looking for and understand how to read energy. But generally speaking, we actually have to find safety within. To stop waiting to be the person that we're supposed to be. Some might call it authenticity, but I believe that it's a little bit more, because you can be your authentic self in any given moment, but not be your fullest, rising to your star potential, if that's what you're destined for. And if you are, then you will feel that no matter what your life looks like. Other people have different destinies. Some that are more centered around putting roots down and having a lower profile. And they may be in a position in life that they're not able to get to where they need to be, but they might be authentic. And so they're going to feel that there's choices that need to be made, and their life shaped in a particular direction in order to be at their prime potential. And so that's why I say that it's more than just being who you are, finding your authentic voice. Because as we progress through the transformational journey, you will naturally do that. You're going to find that different parts of yourself come online. You're going to start expressing that. You're going to start living by authenticity, which is one of the highest vibrations. And you're going to feel Like there's another version of you that's trying to come into being, almost as though you're shifting lifelines and shifting timelines, and you're not quite there yet. But when we don't have safety within, both of those things, authenticity and reaching your fullest potential, become stunted. Because when we're looking outside for the room to make us feel safe, to start that content channel, to do that project, to come out, and whatever that means for you, when we're waiting for the audience to say, it's okay, come on, it's okay, we're actually doing ourselves a disservice, because very often the audience that we have built and attracted are not going to resonate with the person that we're trying to merge into. Some will, depending on how you've built your audience and how in alignment it is with you for the long haul. But others, not so much. I recently had to start over on one of my social media profiles because I realized, and this is on Facebook, and I've taken a very long break from Facebook because I realized that my old identity and my old life, I can't think of very many people. There are some, but I can't think of a lot that are actually going to resonate with the person that I've turned into. And had I waited for those people to tell me it was okay to change, I would have never changed. That's my point. But for the longest time, I felt unsafe coming out as the person that I wanted to come out as. Stepping away from the esoteric, the scientific, the business side, and stepping into the metaphysical, the life coaching. Like, I'm sure some of my previous work colleagues have many eye rolls because the perception of that and the judgment of that is exactly what anybody would fear coming from the world that I came from. And I'm okay with that because it's a culture thing. It's actually not about me. And as a result, when we hold ourselves in fear, we're holding ourselves hostage, because when you understand how social behavior is constructed, what you'll realize is that many groups of people attach themselves to a certain identity. And for example, this is just an easy one. When somebody's very logically oriented, very rational, they might be very dismissive towards creative things. You know, the whole left brain versus right brain. And similarly, when somebody identifies with a role such as a scientist or a computer scientist or, somebody very technical, what can happen is that artistic types, spiritual types, are just automatically shunned because to heavily identify as with the left brain means that when you're compartmentalized and fractured, you automatically have to reject the right brain. This is what I mean by it's not about me. It's a cultural thing. And so when you identify with a subculture or a group of people that attach themselves to certain attributes and they over prioritize those attributes in favor of others, and then you start to identify with the others, then it doesn't matter how likable you are. A lot of people, unless they're really in your close circle, are just automatically going to judge you because it's kind of a cultural expectation. Like you make jokes to bond with people, and you might not even mean those jokes particularly, but you do it as a way to maintain rapport with the people that are identifying in that group. So there's a lot of ribbing or elbowing. And those jokes are not necessarily representative of how people actually feel. It's more of a group think identity situation. And so when we don't realize this, we don't understand how the interplays of social mores work, we can take it very personally, as I once did. And we can start to see it as there's something wrong with us because we're being judged or our worst fears are coming true. Or God forbid that it's your close friends talking about you behind your back, making jokes. The people who are supposed to be supporting you, lifting you up, encouraging you every step of the way, if they are heavily attached to a role or an identity, then they might behave in ways that are hurtful, especially if they're not fully in alignment and still have shadow work to do and have any sort of double speak, two faces, that sort of thing, gossip behind people's back. That's its own sort of social group thing that has to be worked through. Triangulation patterns, codependency, and it can get quite messy. Power plays behind the scenes, taking sides, etc. And so when you exist in social dynamics like that, and you're trying to become who you're supposed to be and your authentic self, you can feel like you just need the right people, like I did. You can feel like really offended that the people who are perhaps supposed to be supporting you are not supporting you and are making jokes at your expense or excluding you or whatever it is, insert blank. And as a result, this can actually, for many people, make you feel like you don't have a safe place to be yourself. And because of that, you shrink or you hide even more, waiting like a turtle poking your head out. Is it safe? Is this the right person that I can finally open up to, that I can finally be free to be myself, to share my vision, my calling, my dreams? That book that I'm writing that I'm embarrassed about, that screenplay that I'm secretly working on, wanting to share it with the world, can't even share it with my friend group. How do you get there? If you have a calling, let's just say, to make films, but you're afraid to even show it to anybody, how do you bridge that gap? If you have a calling to revolutionize a certain sector in your chosen field, but you're so afraid to even take ownership of your vision because you're used to playing small and everybody around you is used to that too, then on earth do you ever get in the right rooms? And even if you did get in those rooms, how would you ever know that it's safe to actually talk about that design or that idea that you have? When you build safety within, and this was a surprise to me, I didn't quite grasp this for a long time on my journey. And so, embarrassingly so, it took me, I think, longer than it was supposed to. When you understand that it doesn't matter what the people around you think, because it is actually true that those who are in alignment with you will be with you no matter what. no matter what turn your life takes, no matter if they agree with you or not, they will be in your corner and they will do their part to support you, just like you would do for them, reciprocity and all. And that doesn't mean that they're there supporting you every single minute or liking all of your Instagram videos or having conference calls with you once a week to mentor you through a particular roadblock or challenge. But it means that those that are actually in alignment with you, it doesn't matter what form you take, they're still there in their own way. Those are very special relationships. I encourage you to hold on to those and to show gratitude for those people in your life. And the rest of them will fall away, no matter what, particularly if they are still actually unconscious or they're heavy in their shadow, meaning they're not clear about the way that they are behaving and choosing in their life. And as a result, they may or may not be actually supportive or caring of you. And those people, when you change, they're not going to resonate with you anymore. When you start to step into the person that you're supposed to become, some might even be threatened by it. Some might actually, especially if they're unconscious and also in their shadow, try to hold you down or hold you back. Not everybody, but some will. And you're going to be shocked because they might even be in the spiritual awakening community. They might be a leader, a mentor, a coach. And you might feel blindsided by this because you're realizing that they're not as grown as you thought they were. And that's okay. We can give them room to keep growing. But when you find safety within, you don't need their permission, and you're not going to get it anyway. That's the point. Unless somebody's really in alignment with you, that thing that you're wanting, that it's okay, I'm here for you, it's not solid. Because those people in your life that are actually in alignment with you, they're going to make it clear no matter what. And the others who are not, you're going to realize that it doesn't matter what you do. That when you start to actually shift and change, you're going to lose them anyway. Or you're going to find out their limitations, even if you don't lose them. And so there are other variabilities too, and there are other examples. But for the sake of streamlining this monologue, teaching, I want to really emphasize that when you actually have that safety within, it doesn't matter what other people think or feel or even talk about you behind your back with. Because your validation is now within yourself. And as long as you're in alignment with yourself and you feel that through and through, and you feel like you're showing up as your baddest, most authentic self that is stepping into your fullest potential, then you, at some level, welcome those that fall away because they clear the path and make it that much easier for those who actually vibe with you and are aligned with you to find you.